Hello for the 9th time, and welcome to Liber Novus, an actual play Savage World system in a homebrewed urban fantasy setting. This is Chapter 6, Part 2, The Best Laid Plans. I'm so serious now. Like, I'm ready to... No. In this world, there are your traditional ghosts and goblins, angels, and airwaves? No.
I love Blink 182.
But it's so all the normal things happened, but in the background, there were, those supernatural things. And our characters, who right now we're about to introduce, are part of this organization called the 1001, who are led by the enigmatic, seemingly ageless Morrison Lemire, who founded the organization to be this sort of global troubleshooters, investigators, explorers, etc., with the idea of keeping the story going. So let's introduce ourselves again. And we'll start the other way this time. Jackie, could you please introduce yourself?
My name's Jackie. I use she, they pronouns. I play Amy Wurs, who also uses she, they pronouns. Amy is surly, unfriendly, just overall a bitch, but extremely loyal to the people that she cares about, and is currently deep in the shit, I think is a great way to put it.
And
hello, I am Paxton. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Streffen Daly, who also uses he, him pronouns. Streffen is, oh man, how to describe Streffen? He is the human personification of a microwaved hot dog right now.
That is not nice.
He's just not doing too great. He's got some long-term trauma, and he just hurts all the time, and that's okay because he has a good friend like Amy, who is definitely not mad at him right now.
Yeah. Definitely not.
Long-term trauma, short-term wounds. That's the name of some album.
Put it on a shirt. Put that shirt on Streffen.
Yeah.
He wouldn't like that because the seams would itch too much on his sensitive skin.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Everything he owns is made by Under Armour, so it's like super lightweight, but it also just kind of shows his nipples for every shirt. That's how.
That's why he wears extremely soft fleece pullovers that he's always wearing.
Fair enough. God, Under Armour. Some comedian once said, Under Armour makes you feel more naked and less attractive than when you are actually naked. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
There is something about that cut, man, that just like, ugh. All right, yeah. And why is Amy angry at you, Streffen? Why is Amy angry at you?
Streffen doesn't know.
Well, Streffen doesn't know, but I, Paxton, know. It's because when Streffen asked if there was anything else he needed to know, Amy didn't tell him, oh yeah, this guy doesn't know my real name. So don't say my last
hold name. The fucking phone. Technically, both the names are real. It's just he doesn't know that this is the name she is now using. And Streffen has a habit of referring to Amy as Wurs, her last name, her father's last name. And through the entire interaction up to that point, Marcus, right? Is that the dude's name?
Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus Von House.
No, his fake name is Von House.
Marcus Divine.
Yeah, Marcus has been referring to Amy as Amelia, which Streffen knows fucking nobody does. So, there was a lot of movement and pieces and, potential context that could have informed him, maybe not to, but Amy also didn't think to fucking say it. So
Yeah.
everybody's wrong, and Amy's mad.
Yes, when last time you all have been trying to track down a series of documents left by the recently dead Bucky Snuffles. And you thought you had your hands on them, and then you didn't. And they are currently, these documents are in the possession of one Marcus Devine, a vampire, one of the 9 vampire families, the Devines, who were kind of like in range of power. They were like 8th or 9th. The Devines were, but when all the vampires, about 5 years back, 6 years back, when all the vampires fell out and reached a huge and had a huge sort of secret war that left them broken as a community in America specifically. They're still all over Eastern Europe. They went into hiding, and Amy, who may or may not somehow be related to that organization, the vampires, hasn't seen many vampires since then. But she ran into Marcus Devine, and Marcus Devine,
this motherfucker.
Marcus,
Sorry, go ahead.
really, Marcus ran into you. If we're going to be honest, you saw each other accidentally at a convention, and he is basically saying, if you want these documents back, you will look into some information that he just got his hands on.
I have written down, quote, "You must break Cordelia Renwick out of prison," end quote.
Yes, Cordelia Renwick. Last time I called her Cordelia because I forgot that her name was Cordelia, so I apologize for that. Yes. So that's what we've got is right. He believes that the Bastion, which are these
magic police.
Yeah, well, no, because there's the magic police. They're more like the magic militia. Like they don't really like. Okay, this is gonna no. I was gonna say this is a bad comparison, but it's really not. They're like the magic Blackwater or like Wagner group. They think that they have all this authority, but really they're just mercenaries and thugs that have organized, and people like them as long as they're around doing the things they want. And they did help. And right now, a lot of the Mysterian community loves them because they helped put down the vampire uprising of 2015-ish. And they without it spilling into the known world and like having everyone like humans suddenly turn, all their technology and thermonuclear weapons at the people. So the Bastion's looking pretty hot right now. They're on the rise, as is fascism. But
definitely not connected.
So, but yes, you are sitting in his. And we're picking up exactly where we left off last time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So you all are sitting in the ornately decorated office of what was once a hoppin' club, like a hoppin' vampire club called Club Sliver, if everyone remembers. The whole place has gone to shit except for his office. And if you and the office has these 2 like really long couches, with like a like unusually like a 5-seat, 4 to 5-seat like person couch, and he's sitting on one couch, and there's a long thin coffee table, just in black wood in front of in between you two, and you two are on the other table.
Yep.
And he just said yes. He has just said, I want you to break Cordelia Renwick out of prison. And scene.
I think Amy is still just kind of processing a lot of things. It's just I don't know how she responds to this. Like her demeanor, very generally speaking, is extremely confrontational. But in this, since we crossed through the fucking front doors of this decrepit place, she has been very reserved. Really only speaking when spoken to, responding to what is said. Like, I think, if anything, Streffen is picking up on that.
Yeah.
God. I'm trying to remember from the conversation previous how much information he gave, or if he had just been like, this is, if you want this, you're going to have to do me the favor, and then he presented the favor, and that's where we're picking up. Is that what it is?
Told you. That's all he has told you so far.
Okay.
He said he had heard some chatter.
Is there any confirmation for these rumors? Are they baseless? Are we going off of whispers?
They are good enough. They are. I have done the reconnaissance that I have been able to do myself, and there is more than a sliver of truth here.
Are you going to share any of this information, or are we going to be going in blind?
Oh, I do not even know where she is being held. That is your job, Amelia. You said last time that you were. Nope, he didn't say last time because that was just last time that came. We're still the time. Yes, you said that you were working for an organization that held your leash. Any organization that has kept you alive long enough so that you are not killed in the purge should be powerful enough to give you a place to start. As I have said, I have heard that they are holding a leader, a female leader, somewhere in the city. That much I have been been able to prove. So whether or not you are working for the Bastion themselves, or the Brotherhood of Twilight, or anyone else, whether you sold us out and betrayed us for your own health, or just for cowardice, well, it is time to pay us back.
This is such a complicated situation. Jackie has to parse through how Amelia responds to this shit. Right, what if I'm not able to get her out?
Well, I believe the first part would be finding where she is.
I am not doing this out of any sort of sense of duty to you. This is being done purely as an exchange, as previously presented.
Of course. You have burned every bridge, Amelia. Hmm? And once you help me, I would say that our I, the word truce is not the one I mean, but it is good enough. The fact that I did not kill you on sight, well, perhaps that will also be gone. Let's see how you do.
Okay. I'll dig, gather information, pull some strings, see what I can find out. How do I report back to you?
Well, let's see. It is today, and let me
It
do my
is
math. I
today.
think like
It's
he said,
Sunday, isn't it?
yeah, I
Because
think
all that
it
shit
is
happened
Sunday.
on
Yeah, yeah,
Saturday.
it is Sunday. Yeah, you were supposed to
And
call
he
him
said
on
next
Monday.
day.
Yeah, you were supposed to call him on Monday, and then he like jumped ahead. Yeah, yes, it is Sunday. Let's say a week. Hmm. You come back with something in the week, and we will go from there. Is good.
Do I only have your word to go off of that you're going to be good for your end of the bargain? What assurance do I have that you're going to do what you say?
Amelia, you wound me. I have always played it straight with you. I was at the fall. I was there. You were not. I do not believe that my honesty and trust is in question. But if it would be, oh, I don't know, if you would feel good about it, a blood pact, hmm?
Oh, Jackie's curious. Tell me about a blood pact.
So I was thinking about this the other day, like how these culture, like how a vampire, like whatever, would
Mhm.
operate, and I think that it's got to be similar to, and not exactly like what you got in like John Wick #2, where they like prick their fingers and they like blood for blood on like a you know what I mean? It's got to be more mystical than that.
But
And
similar
but
concept.
a similar concept that there has to be like some like I think there is a and I'm willing to like we could take a pause and like spitball this some form of like receptacle or object where it like sinks into like both of your wrists and
Ooh.
draws blood, and if it is broken like something happens.
Is it something that remains there until the contract is
Oh, I
completed?
think so, yes.
I dig that. I dig that.
Hmm.
What if my heart says that it has to be something like some sort of like bone or remains of some mystical or mysterium being, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Um,
Like, but then like also mixed in with like silver or something.
yeah. Like what's are are there demons? Are
I mean,
they
of
are
course,
they
yeah.
the lawyer kind of like demons kind of shit? Like is it
What if it is what if it is teeth from the like from like ancient vampires that have
I was thinking teeth too, but I wasn't sure how that would tie to the like contract aspect. Like maybe that's something like okay, so it's like
Oh,
silver
contract.
woven bracelet that has a tooth and then the other person
A
has
tooth
another one of a tooth both
or
from the
something.
same vampire, you know?
yeah,
So that's what binds them.
yeah. Or it like yeah, that would cool. Or like what if it is a tooth on one end and the other end is like a writing nib, like a pen. and like you each give blood, and then you like sign a contract.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then, but
We have to sign the contract in our blood, and then whatever is monitoring the
yeah,
nature of the contract is also
yeah.
in contact with the blood
Oh, I love
as a
it.
binding aspect.
What do you look?
And
Go ahead.
oh, I mean, just like we have the Fae right there. They're kind of well known for contracts too. It could
That was
be
another thing that I was thinking about, Fey teeth.
a vampire's tooth and like a pen nib made from like Fae blessed silver or
Oh
something.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's a great idea. I
love
dig
it.
that. I like that. It's like the oh god.
You okay?
Have you seen those spiral ink dip pens, the ones that are like glass?
No, but I'm sure they're
Okay.
awesome.
A Paxton's on it, but they're these pens where the whole of the pen is made out of glass, and the nib of it has like these spiral indents that leads the ink to the point that you write off of.
Okay.
I don't know why that nib specifically popped into my head. I don't remember where I was going with this.
But it's got to be runic. But like the nib could be
Okay.
runic.
I know. So my thought was the Fey blessed silver that is used to make the pin is then also used to like make the bracelet that holds the tooth
Yeah.
in the person's arm, right? And the way that it works is that it is twisted together to make the pin like those glass pins have that kind of like twist fall down instead of it being your more standard calligraphy nib that like spreads and places the ink that way. That was my thought process.
I'm totally down for this cloud. So the fact that he is oh yeah. All right. Oh, I love it. So back here. So the fact that he is offering this lets you know that he isn't going to screw around. Whether or not you want to take him up on it, like the fact that he is offering it lets you know.
I think she feels like she kind of has to, because his point of questioning her honesty in this trade is extremely fair. And it's one of those things where it's like she has no ground to stand on in that sense. Like she has no way to be like, yeah, well, you don't know, or any of that. Like he knows, he was there, she was not, and that is extremely telling in a variety of ways, regardless of the reason that she had to be there. So,
and you think it's a bracelet, by the way?
The two things that came to mind were just something that ends up remaining on the wrist, or maybe something that sits as a necklace. But like, there's no actual chain connecting it. Like it is just in the flesh. After the contract is signed, you place it on the person, and it
removes.
Like, yeah.
And if you break the contract, it should be on the neck, because that's where like
this is a choker.
The blood is, and if you break it, it tightens and pops your head off.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Into your carotid, and
it just drains you. Yeah. Hi, Siki.
Love it. Oh, good. Well, that's a big move for you, Wars.
Yeah. Talk shit, get hit. I think he says that, and it gives her pause. I know I certainly would feel a lot more secure if there was a viable contract in place. So if you're offering, I'm sure we could agree on terms.
He's like, but of course.
But of course.
Like Louis or whatever. Yes.
No, but that phrase is forever just cemented in my brain, and Allie doing a silly French accent going, but of course.
But of course. And like he goes and he gets out a box that has the it's like it's a wooden box, you're not sure, and it has like the symbol of the divine family burnt
It's like a
into it.
lacquered acacia.
Yeah, and he opens it. The inside is red velvet, and inside the like sitting on the velvet is the pen and the two bracelets or the two chokers. And he says, "Shall we?"
Sorry, I got distracted by Suki.
That's fair.
God, now's gonna be the boring part of like discussing and negotiating contract limitations and expectations of stands. Like that's
Sure. So just give me give me what you think, and then you're gonna give me a roll, which Streffen can help you with.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna need it. I'm still fatigue weighed.
Yeah.
I'm wounded.
Yeah, and then everybody can go from there, and we'll go from there.
So
you just tell me what you want, and then based on your rolls, I'll tell you if he comes back with any form of buts and ands.
Ultimately, what Amy wants is for there to be like some sort of, I don't know if clause is the right word, but like an if-then sentiment regarding the final point. Like, if there is no feasible way for Amy to safely retrieve Cordelia Renwick from captivity, but she has given as much information as she can, then that should be the end point. Like, that is the only thing that she wants, like, to ensure out of this. Like, because
she doesn't want a suicide mission.
She doesn't want a suicide mission. That's the bottom line. If it is very clearly like no way out suicide mission, she wants to be able to have the contract still be fulfilled and her receive her end for the work that she has done.
Oh, and he says, "Wars, nope." I think he does. He goes. He like moves his mouth a little bit and he goes, "Wars, you are no good to me, dead. So that is fine. It's going to take some use, Amelia. Wars, is it wars? Friend, wars? Is that how you put it? Wars? Anyway, Amelia Renwick. Wars. You're no good to me, Dad. So we keep you. That is fine. Besides, you were her favorite for so long. Well, except for your cousin. But yes, so long. You I can't imagine that if you saw her, you wouldn't go out of your way to try and get her, if you could."
Amelia's fine.
Worse it is.
She wants to fucking explode.
Oh, I know.
I know. Like, she's been doing pretty good about keeping her composure, all things considered, but like that conversation point forward, like hackles are rising. Like not literally, but the vibe is there, you know. God. So just so I'm clear, contract as stands is Amy is going to gather information and, if possible, free Cordelia Renwick in return for all of the papers in the bag that Marcus found and lifted, or fucking whatever.
Yes, but I still want to roll from you. I still want to roll.
Yeah. What am I rolling?
I don't know. Is there a negotiation skill? There isn't a negotiation.
Persuasion is probably the closest to it.
And then you should give a persuasion, and then you could help out in however you wanted to do it. Streffen.
Could I argue for using either occult or smarts, just because I have been around some consummate wheelers and dealers for a while who are used to making magical contracts.
Oh yeah, give me a smarts for that. Absolutely, I would love a
Okay.
smarts roll.
And could I argue for any kind of bonus for my experience there,
You
or
could argue for that. Go ahead, take a +2. You have watched people.
okay?
You've watched people for like decades, like work in some magic, some words, right? You're like the master
Mhm.
of the claws.
Ho ho ho.
Worst master ever. Like it's like being master of the preposition. I'm the master of the split infinitive. Take that.
I am the master of the the dangling participle phrase. Let's see. With a +2 and then the -1 for my wound, that is a 7 for me to assist.
So that would be a +1 to me.
a plus
I'm
one
gonna-
to you.
I'm gonna spend my leftover extra Benny from last session, though. I
Oh,
want to see if I
fun.
can't blow this up a little.
Yes. I'm gonna be mayor.
It's the same result.
Oh, that's not as good. I mean,
I mean, that means you still have 3 more bennies. Do you want to spend another one, Paxton?
Benny
Oh,
Bully.
Benny Bully!
You know what? This is important. I'm willing to spend one more Benny.
Le gasp.
Words.
Just for you, Jackie. Because Streffen feels a little bad.
Why?
There
What
we
did Striffen
go.
do?
I blew up both of them dice. So that is an 11.
Woo,
Which
So that would be
Woo!
a
Plus
+2
2.
to
that
you.
will give you
Nice.
+2.
Okay. So I want to make sure I have all my things in order. I don't think outsider applies here.
No.
Okay. Rebellious absolutely would.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it is a -2, which Paxton's assist just negated.
Sure.
I am currently fatigued, which
Mhm.
means I'm at a -1,
Uh-huh.
which is 1 to 3 better than I normally am when I'm rolling any sort of persuasion roll. So this is great.
Great.
I do have conviction. I am going to use it.
Really? Wow.
I'm going to use conviction to try to get as good of a deal out of this situation as possible. Which means I'm rolling with an additional d6
Yeah.
that will add into whatever standard roll I get. And if I Benny, I reroll all dice.
Yeah.
So, here we go. This is fun. I'm having a great time.
Good. Having a good time. Having
Okay.
a good time.
This landed cocked. Okay. Both my d4 and my conviction ace.
Oh, look at you.
5 ace again. Okay, 16, 20, 120. I got a 20.
You got 120?
No, just a
Oh.
20.
Rolling
The
dice for a
d6 ace
while.
twice into a 4, which is
Okay.
16. I got a 4 and a 1, which is 5, which is 21 minus 1, 20.
Okay, 20.
I got a 20. I'm
Jeez.
marking that I've used my conviction.
Let's see what he gets. Since this is contested and he
And
is
that's fine.
a really fancy guy. Oh, I didn't like either ones. I'm gonna spend one of his bennies. Why do I roll like shit? I'm gonna do one more benny of his. Nope. So the best he got was a 9.
It's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's 11 lower, so it's 1 raise.
No, it should be 2 raises, right? 4
Mm.
and 8.
2 raises would need to be a 9 to a 21.
Oh,
So
okay.
I succeeded,
Yeah.
which is like thinking
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
rules
yeah.
of
No.
like
Right.
wounds and stuff.
no,
like
it-
I met,
You met,
which is 2
that is-
raises above.
Yeah. So
You're right.
Yeah. So you have 2.
I totally understand.
I'm doing damage. Not,
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So you beat him by 2. He's
Which is impressive for Amy.
which is impressive for Amy. You really.
think-
Yeah, go ahead.
Possibly what might have like aided in this and why she got such a high roll is because she has been as cordial as she can be. Like she hasn't been biting back at any of the comments or anything.
Yeah, and I think on some level, what the other thing you notice as you're getting ready is, as you're getting ready for this, like there is a giddiness that you have agreed to this from him, that you're starting to see. And I think maybe Streffen, because of your help, you helped Amy pick up on that. Because you read people way better than than they do. I think what you ended up realizing was like he's on a weaker foot than he's pretending, right? Because if he was in like if he had the strength that he's like saying that he does, he would have tracked her down and broken her out himself. And so like the fact that he's like rope-a-doping, he may just be trying to look for disposable assets, but he may not be. And I think that puts you in a, I think with the two of you working together, with that +2 and all that, like you sort of see that, and I think that's been real helpful. And so, what ultimately he says is, I want proof of the prisoner. If you cannot take her yourself, I want, the phone imaging, if you have to, or like a log of some sort, perhaps a kidnap-y, something that will get me there a step forward. But that is only if you yourself cannot get it yourself. Yes? Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Excellent. You have a week, Amelia. Do not let me down. Or, and he sort of like does one of these things.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So we set the contract, we signed the contract,
Uh-huh.
we got the chokers on,
Uh-huh.
both of us.
Uh-huh.
And we get all the threats.
How is it just like sitting on the skin? Like it looks like a piece of jewelry? Is it hidden in some way, like it somehow settled beneath the skin, so it's almost like there's silvery lines accenting the skin? Like what does it look like?
I don't know. What do you want it to look like?
I love the idea of it not being super apparent.
Okay.
I don't think it's a common artifact. I think the fact that he used that is another tell of how desperate he is for this to happen. But I do think that there are enough people that would be able to recognize it easily if it was extremely apparent. Yeah. So I really like the idea of like we do the signature in our blood and the pin unravels into the two chokers with the teeth that helped make the nib, and then that gets placed and it just almost melts into the skin.
Like mercury, man.
Just yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like only visible in the moonlight of a full moon. Like you can see it in very specific correct light, but if you don't know it's there, you don't know it's there. Maybe if you got like a really high arcane detect arcana roll or some shit like that, maybe. But like layman wouldn't be able to see shit.
Well, layman is the worst superhero. I'm layman. Come.
Layman.
Once I was bitten by a radioactive lay, and now I'm made of flowers.
Okay.
Now
So,
it's time for you to get laid.
Ba-bum.
all right.
Out,
So,
laid out. Not
That would be the best superhero.
did he have any other specific information to give, or was literally all he had the confirmation that a female leader was being held by the Bastion somewhere in the city?
That is what he has. That
That's fine. Okay.
he was able to confirm that it was a thing.
Okay, that's
Mhm.
fine. No more specifics than that. That's good. Amy can work with that.
And then
Okay.
absolutely. Earlier you said something about Streffen being good at reading people.
hmm
And I think that I would like to try to read Marcus a little bit more.
Okay.
And I'd like to cast mind reading really
Oh
fast.
boy. Oh boy. Okay.
So this is my spellcasting versus his smarts.
Yeah.
On a success, I get one truthful answer from him.
hmm
On a raise, he doesn't notice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So there we go. Okay. I mean, I used 2 bennies. But I got 4 bennies still. 3 for me and 1 for him.
Yes.
Why do you have 3?
What do you mean? Don't I get
You
No, I get 1
you
for
get-
each of you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, 2. I got 3 left. I got 2 left. There we go.
I'm gonna spend one of my bennies.
Oh boy.
We're gonna see if we can't make this D12 work for me.
Oh, and if you need it, I don't know if you've spent your conviction yet, buddy.
Well, my D12 blew up.
Ooh.
Okay, you don't need it then.
So I got a 19 on this cast.
And I only got a 12. No, I only got a 9.
Oh,
No, 10. I got a 10. Sorry. I got a 10. That's my number.
Okay.
so that's with a raise. That's
It's
good.
with a raise. So he doesn't.
So he won't know shit.
He won't
Yeah.
know shit. I did my math.
So
Lucky
so Ben.
you.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you want to know?
Yeah, well,
who in this town is Marcus Divine afraid of?
oh my god.
Oh my god.
Who isn't he afraid of it? I mean, really the person like he is most afraid of the Bastion, right? Like that's like they're the people. So we haven't really talked about the hierarchy of the Bastion in New York City very much. But I mean, because the only person we've ever interacted from the Bastion was that like healing lady whose name I don't even remember. Like
Autumn Winter?
Dr.
Dr. Autumn Winters?
Dr. Autumn Winters, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a number of people, right, that you can be afraid of, right? There is I'm sure there is a dragon somewhere in New York City, but like, so there's always someone who pulls a lot of weight and a lot of power. But the person that he is most afraid of is and mostly because they're just actively hunting vampires right now, and forever for like years now, is like the city general of the Bastion. And who needs a good name? Let's give him
We do need a good name.
Hold on.
He, him?
No. Maybe.
Maybe.
Wait, what did you say?
No, I was checking pronouns, see if you had an idea for that.
I do not. Sorry.
Let's see. A general.
I was just being, normal.
General.
Sorry, I apologize. Okay. It's over there. Okay. Here we go. Book of Names.
Let's do this.
Da, 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 da. Boo, boo, doo, boo, 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 boo. Na, 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 na. Doo, 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 doo.
Oh man. And then the question is, do I want to push my luck?
So
I like last name Kane.
Ooh. General Abel Kane.
No.
General Jacob Kane.
So on my list of rolling, the name is General Nyx Kane, Nyx, like the Greek name for knight.
Nyx Kane.
Hell yeah.
I love that. I think definitely a she/her then. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, City General Nyx Kane.
And is this CAIN, KANE?
CAIN.
Yeah. Maybe CAI
Keep it-
CIA CAINE. Ooh la la.
I
Okay.
like that.
Um,
General Nyx Kane, she, her.
yes.
All right, I'm just writing that down so I have it written down.
Yeah, I don't think you know who she. You've never met her, Wars.
Okay.
And I don't think you like. She would be even way above your pay grade. I mean, maybe like, maybe you were like destined to meet her, and then like, and then like Morris and Lemire came in and said, no, we're gonna take Amy for the 1001. Like, you don't get, sorry, Russia, you don't
I'm very okay with that.
and but his fear for Nyx Kane is so big that it like knocks you on your on back a step.
Excellent.
And like the images in your head are like, it's not even like what she actually looks like. It's what he pictures her as. So like, she's 10 feet tall and there's like fire behind her as she like wields a double-edged broadsword and like slices his kin in half. Like, she was on the front line of bringing down the vampires. Which is why she was what happened? Was it
I have a problem with strong women in positions of authority.
Fair enough.
Don't we all, Jackie?
That's fair.
Sorry, continue. You said what? 10 feet tall, strong lady,
she's
broadsword.
Not actually 10 feet tall, but that's what he remembers her as.
Flames behind her.
Yeah.
Continue.
Right.
But yeah, so that's her. I'm sure like she's been in like the Mysteria newspapers occasionally, or you've like heard her on the radio. I think she has like very close cropped black hair with like a streak of like I think I've already done streaks of white before. So no, so she just has like very close cropped black hair. Nothing you could like grab onto in battle. I think she probably has a magical hand, like, or like elbow down, like is
Fuck yeah.
is like replaced with either like some sort of like TikTok magical arcane hand.
A steel claw.
Yeah, well, it's nicer than that. I mean, maybe you know, but
yeah.
But she's been around for a while. She's probably in her like early 50s, but not losing a step.
Of course.
Yeah. So there you go. That's her. And I think he actually probably encountered her during the vampire purge back then, and like watched her just like slay people.
General.
Slay.
That back
yes, massacre queen.
Genocide.
Yes.
Well, they were trying to.
In her defense, it was a fucking coup.
Yeah, they were trying.
They were.
Yeah,
they were going to do a murder, a big, bad, huge murder of a whole fucking area to gain, like, it.
It was bad.
Not going to defend fascists, but I think in that moment her actions are excusable.
Yeah, lady fascist. Strong enough to fascist a man, made to fascist
Oh.
a woman. Like Lady Secret. Sorry.
I mean,
Um,
lady fascists are hot, so it's okay.
You can fix her.
So, yeah. So that's who he's afraid of. You said you wanted to push your luck, maybe.
I was considering it.
What does that mean? What are you thinking of
I
doing?
kind
Casting
of
it again a second time, you
I was
motherfucker.
thinking about casting it again, but I think I'll hold on to my last Benny.
Oof.
And I don't have any other questions that I'm like dying to know the answer to.
All right, so contracts have been signed.
Contracts have been signed. Blood has been spilled.
Chokers in place.
Yes.
If there's nothing else that I can help you with, Marcus,
No.
I think I'd like to take my leave.
Yes, I will have Gustav show you out. Gustav was that. Gustav was his ghoul, and he comes in. And
Ghoul stuff. I think we made that joke last time.
No. Yes,
Sir.
he's like,
Very good, sir.
he's like, and Gustav, walks you back down, leads you through the broken down club where there was at once time dancing and blood drinking and all sorts of terrible debauchery, and you are out on the street again. And with that, let's take a break. Let's take a
Break
break.
time.
Woo!
Woo. And maybe it won't be broken when we return. All right, be right back. All right. So I will let you all bounce where you want to be. Are we on the cab or no? Are we in a cab right now? Are we on the the motorcycle? Let's try that all the fuck again. Are we on the microphone? No. Are we on the motorcycle? Are we back at Amy's house? And this will be the first time we're at Amy's house.
I have to figure out what that looks like.
We've only been in Streffen's house before.
Yeah. I don't know how much conversation is going to happen on the ride over. It is, at least for Amy, very stiff silence. She just gets on, waits for Streffen to also get on, and then as soon as he's like, secure or indicated that he's holding on however he needs to or does, we'll just take off. No discussion as to where. It probably isn't until they're a little more than halfway there that Streffen realizes where they're going, because Streffen doesn't go to Amy's place often. Like, probably could count on one hand in the last 5 years the number of times that he's been in her place.
Yeah.
Because usually she goes to his.
I mean,
she's a very private person.
Yeah, I mean, you rarely go and see your dad. You now in her house.
She tries to see him often. She doesn't let others see him.
No, that's what I meant. Like according to the last time, you go every Thursday to have dinner with him, and he gives you shit about it. And then, but no, today Streffen saw Franklin, and now you're at her house. This is a big deal. Like, Streffen, I don't know how you're feeling, but like, this
mostly in pain because we probably crossed the river again.
Nope, you didn't. Nope, this was all on the no more wounds for you today. So
you and I live in city, so we don't cross the river for that.
Right. Oh yeah, we already crossed back.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why you spent PowerPoints, Amy Wars, to heal Streffen of all his internal wounds.
Tried.
It's true. So yeah. So you're Amy. What is your place? Are you in like a walk up? Do you have a really fancy apartment somewhere? Are you like in a basement apartment underneath a brownstone on the upper west side? Do you have all the money? You didn't take
a little hole in the wall on top of a strip club.
Yeah.
I think her place is small and secluded. I don't think it's anything extravagant, but I don't think it's run down per se. Like, everything works as it should, and it might be shabby on the outside, but it's clean on the inside. And I liked the idea of it being like a basement.
That's fair. Yeah. No, I like that. So, yeah. Do you think you're like Do you think you're near one of like the areas that people like? Are you like Soho, Alphabet? I mean, when you say like shabby but reasonable, I think like circa 2000s Alphabet City, which is much nicer than it used to be. Even then.
I, Jackie, don't know shit about New York areas, so
Okay.
I recognize them by name, but I could not tell you what it means or what it looks like.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, no, I think you're probably on like the southwest side of the island. Not so nice that you're on like the West Side Highway or anything like that. But you're not, you're somewhere. You're south of Times Square. You're nowhere close to that. You probably are in the vowels or in the Alphabet City. So yeah. So you go there and you let Streffen in and like I assume that it's nicely furnished or moderately furnished.
Yeah, I think Streffen's place, we had described it as like is it fair to say that Streffen's place has a kind of like air of age to it? Like he has a lot of antiques and stuff that he got from Goodwill. Is that what we decided for Streffen's place?
Like Streffen's stuff is all very like shabby and scuffed.
Secondhand.
Second and third hand. And it also looks like he barely uses any of his stuff.
Right.
I think Amy's is similar in that way. Her place is very clean. It's very tidy. I think its aesthetic is minimalist modernism kind of vibe. A lot of like square shapes, gray tones, that sort of thing. Probably a relatively open plan with the only like solid walls and doors are her bedroom and the bathroom. But like you can see from front door into the living room into the kitchen kind of deal.
That's fair.
Which the kitchen is spotless.
Sure.
She still eats. She just, doesn't need to as often.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah. So
there's not photos of her and Franklin. She wouldn't do that. Not in the public space, at least.
Right. I think you probably have a photo because Amy's not young, and so you probably have like sepia tone black and white photos of photos from like the 70s when Amy was in her 20s and finally talked to Franklin and met Franklin, and they're like he's got like a mustache and is wearing bell bottoms and like long hair. And you're like, hello. So
she definitely has those photos, but they're not out for display. I don't think she has it. Like the private nature of her personality extends to the decoration of her home.
Yeah, like a locked shoebox underneath us in a safe underneath her bed.
Underneath the floorboards of her bed, yes.
Along with her 1980s teen beat.
It's buried like nobody's business. So that's her home. I don't know what parking is like for that area of New York, but
you're fine. You make a salary.
Motorcycle.
You make a salary. You probably have a space that you pay exorbitant fees for.
Yeah. It's almost as expensive as the actual flat.
Yeah, you definitely live in a rent-controlled place because Amy Wars or Amelia Renwick have been on the lease for a really long time. You just keep transferring leases to from grandmother
next to Ken, some shit.
Yeah, exactly. The people who own this house would love to kick your ass out because you're still paying like 1980s rent on it.
There's some benefits to this kind of aging process.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer. No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, so how do you, so there is this almost very pregnant pause as the two of you enter this. It's been a hell of a few days. You've been beaten up and beaten up and emotionally
Almost
sad
arrested.
and almost arrested and beaten up again.
Yeah.
You're on everybody's list right now. How do the two of you feel, and how are you going to talk about it?
Oh man.
I think Amy tosses her helmet onto the sitting chair that's like closest to the door, locks the door, and then goes into the kitchen to get some water. Like, isn't talking to Streffen and probably won't until he says something.
Yeah. I think Streffen looks around, finds a place to sit, where it would be polite for him to put his foot up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's definitely an ottoman as part of the couch set.
Absolutely.
This is where Streffen's stuff is kind of like pieced together, puzzled together, having unity only in its antique nature. Amy's stuff all matches.
Right, yeah. Streffen like collapses into this chair and puts his foot up, and I guess that could have gone better. You don't have an ice pack, do you?
Amy tosses you an ice pack where it sails across the room and lands in your lap with a little bit of a whoop.
It just like thunks directly into my eye.
Yeah.
No, she does return. She has a glass of water for her, a glass of water for Streffen, and an ice pack. Like, as he was asking it, she was already there with it.
Oh. BFFs.
Thank you. So I did ask you if there was anything I needed to know about the guy. Didn't realize that when you said no, you meant also he didn't need to know anything about you. Anyway.
I also told you not to open up your mouth. I said, let me do the talking.
Fair enough. Though, if I remember right, it is still considered impolite to not answer when somebody asks you a question directly, right?
No.
I haven't lived in the US for a couple decades. Sorry, that was rude. He like puts the glass of water up to his forehead. He's doing one of these things. Anyway, where do we want to go from here?
Is that really it? Is that really all you're going to say? You're not curious, you're not going to press, you're not going to ask any questions.
I assume there's a reason you haven't told me. And I mean, if it's important, I figure you'll tell me.
What if I'm scared to say something? What if I'm worried about it'll, I don't know, affect how you see me?
Streffen takes a really long sip of water, clears his throat a couple of times. Then my new therapist would say, that sounds like a problem. Amy, I really enjoy working with you. And I feel like your strengths do a really good job of covering up the places where I don't have any. You have saved my life multiple times. And if you think that telling me the truth about something, about your history or whatever, is going to change the way I see you, then I don't know. Maybe we need to start over and introduce ourselves again. Hi, I'm Streffen. I spent 80 years locked in the Fae, and that was really traumatic for me. So I don't like to talk about that.
Sorry, that was Jackie. That was not Amy. It's just really good delivery.
And so when I meet somebody who also doesn't like to talk about things, I figure either it's none of my business or I don't know. Are you doing okay?
Oh, she has been so goddamn tense. I think when she was presenting those quote unquote hypotheticals, she had been very pointedly not looking at Streffen, like kind of observing her glass, kind of not looking at him, you know, where it's just like, oh, this is real interesting. Why don't I look at this?
Mm-hmm.
I think her attention has remained, like her gaze has remained off of Streffen. But he especially can see how hard she is contemplating. I think the time that we spent that they've spent together has given Streffen a leg up on seeing past her bristly exterior. And her default demeanor being irritable doesn't completely hide the vulnerability that she is edging against in this moment and in this conversation. And I think there's a beat or two of silence, and she quietly says, "My name is Amelia Renwick. Cordella Renwick is my mother. And I thought she had died. And I thought it was my fault. And she may be alive and captured, but it still is my fault."
That's a lot to be carrying around.
That's not even the half of it.
I'm sure it's not. Cordella Renwick. Ben, do you think there's any chance that I might have heard that name in the mid to late 1930s?
Give me a common knowledge roll.
Common knowledge?
Yeah.
Because I imagine people haven't talked about her much recently.
Well, not since she went down. No.
Right.
Also, you should both take pennies for that beautiful interaction. It was so good. I loved
Excellent. I
Oh
love
my
it.
goodness, thank you.
love
What did I do with my extra pennies? There they are.
Common knowledge. Here we go.
I'm
That's
getting
4.
the Benny that is Clinton Gooper because I love Clinton Gooper.
That's a good Benny.
It's a good Benny.
Mm-hmm. What'd you get?
I
Four.
got a 4.
A 4?
Yep.
Yeah, you know, blah blah blah. Yes. To answer that
Like
question,
I've heard of her.
yeah, you've heard of her. The Renwicks were um were a vampire, one of the vampire families, and you know that from being around now. Um, but Cordella Renwick, um, you heard the she was a big enough name. I don't know if you knew it before the Fae sort of took you away. Um, but she was a big enough mover and shaker that you, when doing your service
Mhm.
in the Fae, that name trickled up in a couple places.
Gotcha.
But you mostly know that she was one of the, I don't know, the major. I mean, I think part of any history, especially if
Mhm.
you were going out of your way to learn things that you missed when you came back and
Mhm.
like rejoined the Myster and were picked up by the 1001.
Mhm.
You know certain things, and Cordella Renwick was one of the leaders, not the leader,
Mhm.
of the attempted vampire coup that resulted in the purge. She was probably 2 or 3, one of like the vice presidents. The
Mhm.
vampires used to be, are divide, as I said earlier, are divided into 9 families, and the Renwicks are certainly, at least they were in America before the purge. They were one of the big powers, and she was the head of that family.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it does stand out to you though that like if if Amy is the daughter of Cordelia Renwick, why the
Mhm.
hell did uh uh Divine feel like he could talk to her that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Like that gives me an idea that there was some it gives me an idea of the shape of some of the things that Amy isn't saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you
Yes.
gonna ask about any of it?
Um
Because I think Streffen gets. I think it's safe to say that Streffen would understand in the context that if he has any questions, now is the time to ask, because now would be the time that she would answer.
yeah, absolutely.
Because
Um
I personally enjoy interplayer conflict and secrets and stuff, but I
yeah,
also don't want Streffen to remain in the dark because of bullshit, you know? But
no,
like Amy's not the sort to just talk.
for
It's true.
sure.
It's true.
I mean, she runs her mouth, but you know, she doesn't say much.
Absolutely. Um So let me see. Amy had said that they're the daughter of Cordella.
Cordella Renwick is my mother.
Yeah,
Cordelia Renwick is my mother. Your
and that
mother.
Cordella is jailed, and that Amy feels responsible for it at least a little bit.
She says it is my fault.
Right? Yeah.
So, however you interpret from that,
You know. Yeah.
that feels pretty absolute to me. But you know,
It does feel pretty absolute. But Streffen doesn't think you're a Sith, so
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get into, like, where is Streffen about asking questions? That's a lot to have been carrying around. When you say it's your fault, do you mean that there was something that you did, or is it more of a something you didn't do that you regret?
I don't regret it, but it was something I did.
If you don't regret it, sounds like it's something that needed to be done. Okay. Okay.
They don't know
Good.
that they don't know that Cordella is my mother.
Okay. That makes sense. That sorry, I'm still getting over the thing in where Arizona. Sip some more water. I'm really doing the method.
But it's keeping you hydrated, so we'll take it, right?
Hydrated. Unfortunately, affecting this rasp is no, it's fine. Okay. So things, what can I do to help here? One, keep my mouth shut. I'm pretty okay at that, especially when I have specifics.
We still need to be careful about what is said around Marcus or any of his creepy fucking guys. But I trust you. I certainly should have told you not to mention the whole last name beforehand. I didn't want them knowing about Franklin.
Absolutely.
And now they have the name. Okay, so nothing to undo that. The only thing we can do is move forward. So now it's time to do what we do best. Or what you do best, rather. Gather some information. Ben Hatton.
Yes, but I am the GM. The GM.
How do the fucking favor system, faction system favor thing work here? Because I might not cash in it immediately, but Amelia does have a favor with the Bastion.
Does she have a favor with the Bastion? Or
Yes.
did she use that favor to get him?
I wrote down that Amy has an IOU for that healing, so I am going to sort that as her favor has not been called. Because I think when she went to Dr. Autumn Winters, she was like, hey, I need healing. And they were like, okay, but you owe me as payment. Like, name was not mentioned, ties were not mentioned.
Okay, so what's interesting is how to put this. I am revising that as far as home rules go. But the way that it plays out in my head right now is it is a scale. And anytime you have above you can use that. Anytime it's above a 0, you can actually delve into that group specifically. You can say, Ben, I want to use my, what is it called? Pounding pavement information gathering. What is it called in networking? That's what it's called. It's called networking in
Okay.
That's what it's called in Savage Worlds. It's called networking. It used to be called
No, I believe it.
So if you have anything above 0, that means you can actually talk to that organization. You could be like, Ben, I'm focusing my networking role in these people that I know. If you get a 3 or higher, you can get a +2 on the dice. If you get a 5 or higher, a +4 on the dice, etc., etc. You do that by getting, by doing rolls, by doing favors. But none of you have been like, hey, I'd like to do a mission that does that. In theory, anytime you screw over your group, I'm not going to say that you can't go with them, but -2, you can get negatives on the rolls if you're on the outs, and there are ways to get pluses and minuses on them. So similarly, you also have the access to the 1001, and that would be research roles, and they actually have like really extensive computer systems and stuff. A lot, if you were going any deeper into lore, I may be like, well, you got to go and read their books and stuff like that. They have like libraries all over. But there are things that they may have depending on what a research role would look like.
Okay.
Because they are an international organization.
So here are my thoughts.
Okay.
Ergo, Amy's thoughts as how best to go about this. I think that gathering information without even contacting the Bastion is probably the best way to start. I think Amy would want to potentially do favors for the Bastion to garner some further brownie points, so she could then potentially get visitation to see Cordella.
So are you gonna? Okay, that all makes sense to me.
I don't think that last step is going to happen in this session at all. No. I think it's probably not going to happen for a minute. Yes. But that means I wanted to express that intent and goal so you could take it, run with it, work with it however best you can or need to.
So wait, that's cool, but is your goal to be like, hey, I heard word on the street is you got Cordella, and then they're gonna roll up and be like, well, if you want to see her, you gotta fight the dragon to get the magical disc. Go on this quest, young vampire.
It's more of like, because Amy's not good at bettering up people, but she is good at getting shit done. And if she gets shit done for the right person enough times, maybe she can go to them and be like, hey, I know you have this person. I need to see her. No questions asked, please. Like that kind of, and she's very okay with doing that, losing any and all favor. Like she's okay with that being like the cash out point.
Okay.
Because like my thought process being pushing and getting in poor favor with the Bastion is going to cause more problems in the long run. And if she can minimize the impact of this potential jailbreak as much as possible, she's going to. Paxton, I don't know how you feel about it, but there wasn't necessarily anything that explicitly said that we couldn't tell other people that we were doing this. Like, there's the inherent threat of, like, you're going to be betraying your people to get this thing done, or whatever organization you're tied to, because she did not reveal which one it was. But I do think, especially with what happened recently, letting at least Mr. Brown know what's going on. Because, like, the 1001, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, the work of the 1001 isn't so much keeping the peace, it is keeping the story going. So, like, they don't necessarily stop bad things or conflicts from happening, which makes it feel safer to tell them that this is happening, at least in a very limited sense. That's where I'm at. That's my thought process. Of Streffen does what he does and goes all nerdy and research and shit, and then we do some IO favors for a specific person in the Bastion, and then use that to cash in on an IOU of the information that Streffen gathered previously. Like, that is my hopes and plans. TM, TM, TM.
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at too. Though I do have a couple of powers that could be useful in addition to hitting the books. For example, if Amy were to, and Streffen would actually ask, like, "Hey, if you can take me to the location where she was when she got captured, or whatever, I can see if I can't take a quick dip in the river of time real quick."
That's a real good question. Ben, how, like, limited access is that area where that final fight happened?
So the actual fight on the day, it was like it was it was more like a multi-pronged raid, like where where they like where but there was a one particular place where there was supposed to be a ritual conducted, um and I think that place is under I would argue that like it was one of your biggest, it was like a mystical hotspot that the vampires used a lot, and like that place is just under constant guard, like lock and key and gun. Like no one's allowed to touch that. I'm not sure if the Bastion control it completely. If like the Mysteria government of the city control it, what there is. We've never really talked about the the mayor of New York. I don't think they would that a source a place like that would be given sole access to anyone. My guess is there's probably like some government, probably the 1001 get access to it, maybe, but it's like, and then like maybe and then sort of and then probably like the Bastion get it, but like it's probably a area that is at any one particular time there is probably a like a coalition that watches over it.
Heavy lock and key makes sense.
Because that was
my
a ley line in and of itself.
I was gonna fucking say it was like a ley line, and it's where they had their fucking conferences or round tables or whatever. Like, okay. So Streffen,
whether or not Cordella was there that particular day, you don't know. Like that's the real danger of it all, or the real bummer of it all, is you don't know during the raids, like where Cordella was. You sort of know what the plan for that particular coup was supposed to be like on New York Day, but you don't. There was probably there's probably I mean, this is New York we're talking about, right? There were probably 24 major staging points, and whether or not Cordella was part of the ritual, and whether or not she was going to be leading the leadership, is very different.
I think Amy stops and contemplates the question, and then shakes her head and says, "I don't really know where she was. They came to me after and gave me her sword, and she kind of trails off and shrugs just like I did.
Well, there's only so many places in the world where a high-profile, powerful prisoner like that even could be kept with any amount of responsibility.
And they undoubtedly have it locked down against any sort of divination.
That's true, but if I've learned anything during my life, it is that all organizations are run by bureaucrats, and bureaucrats love information, and they are... Anyway, I probably don't have to divine much of anything directly. I'll have to just... I bet I have a contact somewhere. Or... We can narrow this down. Shouldn't be too bad. I'm with you. We got this. And I happened to realize that Mr. Divine would piss his pants if certain people from the Bastion were to know that he was in the city. And I am not against petty pranks.
You didn't sign any contract.
I signed nothing. I agreed to nothing. Other than one or two little slip-ups, I kept my fucking mouth shut.
For, I think, the first time in a long while, Amy genuinely smiles. And in the mind space that is the casting and visualization of this game, like, for the most part, she's scowling, mouth really tight when she talks. But in this smile, you can see some very, very sharp canines on her face, in her face, on her teeth. I word great.
In her mouth, on her teeth. She has double layers of canines. She's a shark.
She has 2 sets of pointy teeth because she is a Dampier.
Yeah.
That detail is now public. Yay. Oh my god.
So what are you gonna do? So pranks and this. What is step 1, man? What is step 1?
Research, telling Mr. Brown, if not the guy who's in charge of 1001, whose name
Morrison Lemire.
Morrison Lemire. My brain was like Morrison. It was saying it backwards. Lorison Lemire. So my brain was telling. Yeah, but letting them know of the situation. Maybe not immediately, but yeah, research I think is the first step. We have to get all of those dominoes before we can knock that tower over. And
get them dominoes.
Them dominoes.
30 minutes or your delivery's free. That's not true anymore. Don't try to hold them.
So give me. So why don't you, as we get ready to wrap up this session for the day, give me a research roll. Tell me where you're going. So networking is pounding the pavement. Research is research. So what does each one of you want to do as you get ready? You can network with persuasion, or you can network with intimidation. Networking with intimidation, I think in my mind, it's like the way they talk about it is you can you're like busting heads and kicking ass and taking names. And you're like, yo, you give me the information. I will say that like each one of them will, if you decide to network and ask around, if you like really blow it, there's going to be a different reaction depending on what skill you used.
Mm-hmm.
I did also never ask anyone. I don't even like if anyone wanted a new card. I don't even remember what cards you have.
I have my card. I'm happy with my
I've
card.
got
Thank
my
you.
card. I'll probably take a new one next session.
Yeah, that's fair.
I might take a new one next session. I don't know. We'll see how I'm feeling. We'll see how it goes after this roll.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go for a research because
Okay.
I'm good at that.
Yeah.
I don't think by default I get the bonus for being an occult scholar because that goes to occult
Yeah,
roll.
this is not that sort of thing.
Okay.
How are you doing the research? Like, what sources are you using?
Oh, right. I am
And specifically,
probably.
what are you researching?
Oh, right. I want to narrow down the kinds of places where she could be held.
Okay.
Like I want a short, like discrete list of places where like high-powered, high-profile prisoners would be kept by the Bastion.
Okay. I have an
So
idea for that.
I think I would need to be using like the Mysteria's like library or like a whatchamacallit, a database that a member of the 1001 put together specifically. You know, like
So to play off of that, in my mind, what you're doing is you're looking at the official records that the 1001 put together about the fallout of the raids and the purge, like official like writings, you know, of like reports that different like because the 1001 only having 1001 didn't take on a huge role, but some of the roles you're there, but I think they were there in a couple. You know that Lemire was there. You know that Mr. Brown was there. You know that a number of very powerful members were there, and part of it. So you're looking at the public records that they themselves put together. So yeah, go ahead and go through that.
Yeah.
Give me a little.
I would also want to be looking at like any other historical records of like if any other vampires have been incarcerated by, you know, and if those locations were known.
Sure, that seems fair.
Okay, roll. That is a 6. I'm gonna spend a Benny and see if I can't get a little bit higher.
That's good.
That is a 4. We're getting close to done. Last Benny. Here we go.
And you got conviction. Never forget.
I have conviction. You know what? This is worth it. I'm going to spend my conviction. Ooh, conviction blew up. So that is a 16 total. Because my conviction blew up.
I was so ready for that last roll to be a crit fail. That's why I was covering my face. I was like, please don't, please don't, please don't. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to bring it into the universe. It was just like a deep-seated gut fear.
So 16's pretty good. That's a pretty good roll. It takes you
3 raises?
Yeah. So you you find there is stuff that you don't have access to, that either it's not scanned or you click on the
you don't have
link,
the clearance,
and then it's like, please enter your like clearance password, and they're like, nope, sorry, your number doesn't meet up there. But you are high enough and you are good enough with a 16 that you do. What they say is that there was a lot of there was a lot of chaos at the end of the purge, There was a lot of stuff that had to be done to it, to keep it under wraps. There was a number of like illusions and memory altering spells, and like
Mhm.
people thought there was a fire, and like fire and gas leaks, and like it was pretty crazy.
Mhm.
Um, but they do come up. You do find a list of of some people who were like definitely killed, a list of people who were missing in action. You get people, you see um you see Amelia's name there. I don't know if you want to like dig in on her what she has. I'll leave that up to you.
Ooh,
Um
Do it.
be
um
fun drama.
Do
like
Might put a
it.
bookmark on that page.
but I'll tell you, but that you have access to, you managed to like get into that. Um, but what you do understand is that there were a lot of these sort of higher powered, um, like when the Nazis felled, when the Nazis, like the scientists got split up amongst a number of different, like, America took a little and Russia took a little and this person took a little.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Operation Paperclip in America. I
yeah.
can't remember the Russian name.
Um, that they actually, surprising to you is
The
that,
Soviet name.
yeah, the Fae actually were involved in bringing them down too. This was just like a balance that was um not um
Favorable. Haha.
yeah, that like they didn't like, no one liked the vampires were going to throw it all off and no one wanted that. But there the bash the only thing that you can really see is that um, a number of years back, probably the Bastion got their start in the mid 1600s, um, and there's always been Bastion in America. They came over with the first settlers, especially with when it was still like New Amsterdam. Um, there is a space in um, what is now um, um, Central Park that was um, that the Bastion had help from a number of different people, including the Fae, to build this for prisons. There are a number of people who were put there. The 1001 has tried for years to get like full blown schematics of this place. Um, they've never gotten that. They've like this bastion is as near as like have never been able to do it. But there are also a number of other black sites that the bastion have. There is a um, there is a like supposed like ice factory, um, like refrigeration, like that makes like refrigerators down again across the water. Unfortunately, um, in New Jersey that they had, like New Jersey, like Jersey City. There's a couple other places around that they have used for high-powered prisons. Um, so you have about a list of 4 or 5, with um, the one in Central Park being like the
Being like
biggest
the
deal.
one that sticks out. It's the biggest deal. It's the closest.
Yeah, I mean it's also the one that's like the most impregnable. Impregnable.
Yeah. The one whose security isn't based largely on secrecy.
Yes.
Well, secrecy of whether or not it exists. There's also the whole secrecy of like what it looks like and stuff.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean it certainly exists. Like that much is there.
Uh-huh.
Like they just like no one's been at like no one outside of like the Bastion has ever been able to actually get any real knowledge of what it looks like on the inside. There are a number of sites that the Bastion doesn't acknowledge exists that
Mm.
the 1001 have been able to like tracked down over time, and those
Yeah.
are like the other 4. So,
Gotcha.
Amy, what you doing? Oh, and just so you know, from your things, like you know that there were vampires from, like, there's a listing of vampires from the purge that went to all of these sites. You don't know where they went from there, but you know that the 1001 recorded that's different, like that there were, captured, that they were given a list of captured numbers, not names, that went to all of these sites.
Yes. That always goes well.
I'm certainly not concerned about some NPCs that Ben and I made together at all.
Definitely a sign of good things happening.
Uh-huh. Amy's strength is not in research or peopling at all. I think while Streffen is doing his part, she is probably communicating. She starts a group text with Mr. Brown and Morris and Lemire and lets them know about the situation.
Streffen would probably speak up and be like, make sure to emphasize that this is a way for us to get the papers back.
Yeah, I'm not an idiot.
That it's okay. I just wanted to make sure we say that out loud where Ben can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The general gist of what she sends is like, I was approached by Marcus Devine. He is in possession of the papers that we were originally trying to get from Dr. Summers. I am now currently in contract with Marcus Devine to seek out information regarding the location and status of Cordella Winrick in return for the papers. Like, she's putting it all out there to those 2 people specifically. Because there was nothing in the contract that said anything about silence.
No.
It was just, I need you to get this done.
Lemire sends a thumbs up emoji.
He sends 3 of them, which is just disrespectful, honestly.
Because
Okay.
Lemire only, right, I had forgotten. Lemire only, actually, what he does is he sends like teeth emoji where it's like, like
the grimace face.
Grimace emoji, thumbs up emoji, question mark emoji.
Maybe he's just like, I don't know what the fuck this means.
That's what he sends. God, he loves emojis. And then you get a
formally worded.
You get
it's like a fucking letter.
Mr. Brown says, "Where are you? I would like to meet you as soon as possible."
I think we're taking the research in the 1001's library and shit. So like,
they had
she
an
just
online database, but yes.
I mean, I feel like, and Paxton, please correct me. Otherwise, it feels most secure to do it in person.
Okay, so you're at their New York headquarters. Oh,
yeah.
We haven't even talked about the New York lodge. Now we gotta build.
I'm like using a microfiche machine that is as old as I am.
Yep.
All
right. He says, "I hope you get you tell him where he is." He says, "Oh my god." He says, he texts you back, "I hope you used the back entrance."
Yes, probably. Like,
yeah.
God. Yeah, she would have. It's one of those things where it's like, she revealed to Divine that she has ties to an organization, but he did not get clearly from her which.
Right.
So she knows, like, the line that they're using to communicate is secure. She is doing everything that she can to limit the amount of information that Divine might get regarding Streffen or her father.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not going to visit him next week. She is not taking Streffen back to his place. Like, if Streffen is going to go there, he will have to take a taxi.
Sure.
Oof.
when they did go to this location, this headquarters, she took the longest and most ridiculous route possible. Made sure to cut through an area that a car would not be able to follow her through. And then went through the back entrance. Like, just the most convoluted,
Sure.
doubling down, sneaking around kind of shit.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. He says, "Wait right there." And
She responds with 3 thumbs up.
and then like 20 like, so you're in this like research room, and like 20 minutes later he shows up looking as put together as he always looks. He's got his overcoat and his bowler hat in his hand, because God forbid he wears those indoors. He puts them on a
There's probably a hat,
yeah,
like a
every
little
room.
hat, right?
Yeah.
Because we're probably in one of those like personal research study corner cubby things. Like
Yeah.
it's as private of an area as possible.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a brownstone, and a brownstone on the upper west side. That's what it is. And you see, I mean, there's a staff there too. You know, it's like, wow, like it was one of the largest in Americas. It has shrunk since the purge, but because it got hit, but it was, it is still around. And he comes in and he throws down he's holding a manila folder in his hand, and he puts it down in front of you, and there is like a and he says, "Open it."
Amy does. What's in the folder, Ben?
I would like a horror check, please, using spirit. Not only for
Okay.
Amy, not for you, Streffen.
Okay, horror check. but
Only
using
for
spirit.
Amy, you said?
Only for Amy. No Struffin.
Okay. It's like I could do it.
It doesn't. You've seen some fucked up shit, so this is an emotional connection rather than.
Are there any penalties to the roll?
Yeah, give me a -2. Fuck it. Thanks
I'm
for
gonna
asking.
spend a Benny. Oh, you know me. Why make it easy on myself? Complicate it as much as possible. Make a character that's like constantly talking at a -4, but constantly talks. Gotta spend another Benny. Ooh, I'm just gonna run out of them.
All you have to do is beat a 4, my dude.
Is that a -2? The highest I've gotten on the dice is a 5. Okay, one more. Last Benny. Let's go.
Oh boy.
That last one was a 1 and a 2. Crit fail, crit fail, crit fail.
Don't crit fail. Blow
Damn
up.
it.
Blow up.
I blowed up. I got an 8 with the -2.
Okay, so you don't lose any of your reason.
Humanity.
Yeah.
That's good.
But what you see in front of you is an image of Cordella's body with her head cut off.
Cool.
And he says, "I killed Cordella Renwick myself.
Jesus.
I don't know who Marcus Divine thinks that they are holding, but, and I have to say this, if you agreed on penalty of your life to rescue," let me say that without chuckling. If you agreed on penalty of your life to rescuing Cordella Renwick, your life is forfeit, Amy Wars. And on that, we're going to stop. Hooray!
Hooray!
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Introduce yourselves. I mean, no, extraduce yourselves. Outdruce yourselves.
I went first, so Paxton goes first.
Paxton, go first. Tell people where they can find you.
Hello, I am Paxton. You can find me on Twitter at sentimental_boy. You can also find me on our Liber Novus Discord. I am putting a link to it 2 seconds ago because of the delay. That's the word. Thank you. Anyway, That's me.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
the next one is
Hi, I'm otherwise known as Jackie. I've been playing Amy Wers, also known as Amelia Renwick. Oh, it's been a lot of lore in this episode. Session, whatever the fuck. You can find me while it still exists on Twitter at Good Ship Sarcasm. You'll recognize me by the Strawberrio profile pic. You will know it when you see it. But I'm more often found on the various AP discords that I have joined, including but not limited to the Liber Novus Discord, Tabletop Squad, Orpheus Protocol, Sounds Like Crows, and RPG for You and Me. My personal favorite.
You should listen to it. Everyone there's
It's
really
a good
nice.
one.
Everybody there in
It's
general is nice.
It's just a good fun time all around.
It's a good one.
And
It's a good
I
one.
am Benjamin Hatton. Oof. I don't know why I said that.
Oh my god.
full name.
Take it back.
I'm Ben Hatton. I felt
Full
like
name.
I'm like wearing this button-up shirt today.
It's not all the way buttoned up. I think you can avoid calling yourself Benjamin.
What's funny is, here's the funny thing, is you know how some people wear their shittiest shirt when it's laundry day? Like, it was laundry day today, and I was like, fuck, I don't have any t-shirts. I gotta put on my button up for the fucking stream. Like, that's what happened when I did it. No, I'm Ben Hatton. I am the GM of this game. I always love playing with Jackie and Paxton. I always appreciate those of you who sit through 2 hours of your afternoons and listen to us play. We have another session, another game with the other team tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Hey,
if you
back to back, baby.
If you enjoy breakfast games, and you can find me, as I think we've said earlier, like, I am on no social media for trying to do a stream. I'm really terrible at it, but you can mostly find me on Discords. You can find me on this Discord. You can find me on the other like on the RPG for You and Me Discord. Occasionally you can find me on the Orpheus Discord, occasionally, because I still run games for their Patreon players, people, a game called Hereafter. So it's
good.
but you could also, I don't know, you could also like, oh, what did I just do? I just like ruined everything. You could also like email at, I think I have a Gmail for this account if you're ever interested in Gmail. I don't remember what it's called Liber Novus Game at gmail.com. If you ever just want to be like, hey, Ben Hatton, how's it going? Could we email? And I'll be like, I'll email you back. There's just, no one emails anymore. No one calls anymore. I just sit in my room.
You never call.
You just sit in the room. I just sit around and
just sit around and talk to your friends on the internet, like just looking at a TV screen. You
a TV screen. Anyway, thanks everybody. I'll see you all later. Oh, bye.
Bye.